Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. It's our East Sabbath class, the 18th of September, 2021. Okay, I'm kind of pick up where I left off at this morning. Deal with Deuteronomy 26, verse 5, break it down, and then I'm going to deal with Enoch. Okay, I'm asking like, share, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh, and then we deal with the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible that was given to Moses by the Lord of hosts on Mount Sinai. And I'm going to say shalom and welcome to everyone. I hope you had a good Sabbath day so far. We're going to do our moment of silence in regards to the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing in the earth to orchestrate our deliverance from these Gentiles. We do a Sabbath prayer, evening Sabbath prayer, songs, and then do a little current event. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before you at the end of this Sabbath day, bow down, great respect for our Redeemer. Lord, you confess through your prophet Isaiah that you would return unto us, and that you would pour out your spirit upon us. This you have done. Oh Lord, in great fashion, because of this, oh Lord, we have found you within your holy scripture, great in counsel, mighty in works. Our eyes are open upon ways to lead everyone according to his ways and according to the doings. O Lord, behold, thou hast made the heavens and the earth by thy great power and thy stretched out arm, and there is nothing too hard for thee. And knowing all these things, O Lord, we eagerly await thy coming, the day in which thou wilt break the yoke of our oppressors. Peace be unto you. Okay. Get the songs out of here. Okay, I'm gonna do Psalms 30. It's the thanksgiving for deliverance from our death. It's a psalm of David, and it's a dedication. It's a dedication to the house of David. I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast made my foes to rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at thy remembrance of thy holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made my supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall I declare thy truth? Hear, O Lord, and have mercy upon me. Lord, be thou my helper. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into a dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. The Psalms 30, and it's thanksgiving for deliverance from death. It's a psalm of David. Anybody got any comments on that? They get anything out of that? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna comment on that. kind of go back to what I kind of said this morning. It says, "O Lord," in verse 2, "O Lord, my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought my soul from the grave." Right there. "Thou hast kept me alive. Thou shalt not go down to the pit." So I was telling you how Most High dealing with these men in dreams, and he tell them things that's going to happen before they happen. He tell them what's going to befall them before they die, what's going to come about with their children. That's how you get to the 12 patriarchs. Jacob called all them and told them what's going to happen to each one in they descendants. But right here, I just read in Psalm 30, verse 2 and 3, especially 3, says, "O Lord, thou hast brought my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, and thou shalt not go down to the pit." So what is he talking about? I'm in 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel 22. So 2 Samuel 22 says, this David's song to the Most High. "And David spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hands of all his enemies and out of the hands of the sword." Right? And then it says, "And he said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress, and my deliverer, the God of my rock, in him will I trust. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower, my refuge, my savior, that saved me from violence." So here go the dream that this is what he showed David. "I will call on the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. When the waves of death," right here, when he died, can't fumble with that. "When the waves of death come past me, floods of ungodly men made me afraid." That's these wicked angels, the spirits of these wicked, these giants. "The sorrows of hell." He just told us in Psalm 30, he came and saved him and kept him from going down to the pit. So what pit? Hell. "The sorrows of hell compassed me about. The snares of death prevented him from ascending. In my distress, I called upon the Lord, cried to my God, and he did hear my voice out of his temple. And my cry did enter into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of the heavens moved and shook because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils. Fire out of his mouth devoured coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. And he was seen upon the wings of the wind. And he made darkness a pavilion round about him, dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. Through the brightness before him were coals of fire kindled." Here you go. This Psalm 30 and 3. "The Lord thundered from heaven. The Most High uttered his voice, and he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and discomfited them. And the channels of the sea appeared, and the foundations of the world were discovered. At the rebuking of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from above. He took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemies and from them that hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity when he died. But the Lord was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me." In 21, "And the Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness and according to my cleanliness of my hands have he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and I have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, I did not depart from them." So that's what he's talking about in Psalms 30 when he says that the Lord brought me brought up my soul from the grave. That's what he's talking about. When he died, he found himself surrounded by these wicked ass spirits. Though thou hast kept me alive, and thou shalt not go down to the pit. All the hosts came and got him. Okay. And we also know that he said, he told Lucifer that he was going down to the pit. You know, but he saved David from going down to the pit. The pit is the bottomless pit, which is Gehenna, Shaul. Okay. Any comments? Okay. So with that being said, let me do some current events. Yeah, I was talking earlier about Levites and about Haiti. Being over on the Mexican border and coming through the Mexican border. So I got 2 videos on that, pertaining to that. Okay. Says the first one is right here. Okay.
Think about it. What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy. Go Black to Africa. So we see right here now that Texas, Del Rio, to be exact, they're on the border of Mexico.
Can you see that?
No.
Okay. Nobody else say
No,
nothing?
but we can hear it good.
Okay. Let me
been basically bum rushed by a lot of immigrants who are trying to come into the country. Now they're saying about 60% of the people, probably a little higher than that, are coming from Haiti or are Haitians who are coming from other countries like South America. Now it's mighty interesting that Texas has immediately created a bill over $1 billion to provide to its border security. Now, when I'm listening to the reports, oh, now the news is taking, its part in trying to spread the message that Texas is being inundated by the influx of immigrants who are trying to come into the country. Now, I'm going to say this right here, family. We're going to see how America handles people of color. Because we already know, just recently, that damn Erica, put the D in front of America, capitalize the E, damn Erica, spent billions of dollars on the evacuation of Afghanistan. Let me say that again. Just recently spent billions of dollars evacuating Afghanistans to come into this country. Now we're going to see now the people of color, are they welcomed into damn Erica? People came from thousands of miles away because of President Biden, who came out of his mouth and said that he was not going to be deporting any more Haitians back to the country. Well, the word spread around like wildfire, so they say. And people started to come in droves, thinking they can come to a land of milk and honey, a place they can find peace and freedom. While all the while, now there's this game being played from the federal government as well as Texas on how they're going to treat the people of color that's trying to come into this country for their own freedoms and their peace. We're going to see how they are going to be welcomed or they're going to be kicked to the curb. It's almost a frustrating thing sometimes when I've lived in this country for 50 plus years to continuously see how they treat people of color. It's just head shaking. And when I do videos like this, people don't listen. Now, there are those out there who will listen, and there are those out there who have taken measures to be able to really think about what are they doing while they're here in this land, a so-called damn Erica. There is almost 20,000 Haitians at the borders of Texas. And they had called to close all the ports, all 6 ports in Texas, to keep these people, because now it's a people of color, out. When we know that's over 400,000 people who come through the borders every year, and now you only got 20,000, and you want to close all the ports now because you are afraid of us people of color who are trying to come into this country when they did nothing when it was somebody who had lighter skin. It's a shame. It is a shame, and it's always been a shame, that as soon as the people has color on their skin, they change laws, they create bills, and all of a sudden now they're talking about building walls. But then you have people who are going through in their country issues and problems, and they can fly them out of hundreds of thousands. They can fly them out, send them right here into these states right here that they are now being given jobs. They are being put into the education system, their children. They are being sent to colleges. But as soon as you have a people of color, it's time to create bills and it's time to create laws to keep certain people out. Isn't that something? And you listen to the report, are you listening to what they're saying? Oh, the tension's raising high. You know, there might be stampedes that are going to happen. We have to take measures now. You know, that the people now are starting to lose their patience. There might be riots. These people are trying to get to a place of shelter. Because when it's a people of color, oh, we don't know how to behave. Oh, we're going to be stampeding each other. We're going to create riots. There's going to be devastations and murder and mayhem. But you said nothing when you had in Afghanistan, people are fighting to get on planes. People bum rushed, basically breaking down the borders of the airplanes getting in, that you just ushered them in. Nothing against Afghanistan. I don't blame you if you're trying to get away from a place you feel as though that is not conducive to you and your safety. But what I'm saying is it is the unfair treatment.
Okay. Any comments?
Deuteronomy 28.
Okay. Yeah, but they don't know we at the end of that. And they're getting ready to, they got a rude awakening. They think it's business as usual, but it ain't. Okay.
Where
Got
are they
another.
housed in the Afghanistans? Where are the Afghanistan people? Where are they being
Well,
housed?
what they doing is just like they're doing with the Mexicans. They busing them to different states, getting them out, getting them the opportunity to choice to make what state they want to go to. And they're busing. We got I don't know what you call it. Uh, Facilities or little headquarters, whatever you want to call it, where they in each state, and they sending people there, and then they just blend them into that state through that system they got in place. But they're not willing to use that system with the Levites.
It's terrible.
Yeah, but that's to be expected. Okay, we got another one right here. This is can you see that? Can you see that? It
Yes.
says U.S. ramps up plans to expel. You see that? It's the opposite. U.S. ramps up plans to expel Haitian migrants gathered in Texas. Del Rio, Texas. U.S. plans to speed up its efforts to expel Haitian migrants on flights to their Caribbean homeland. They put them on planes. Officials said Saturday as agents poured into a Texas border city where thousands of Haitians have gathered after suddenly crossing into the U.S. Mexican border. Is that something? Okay. Let's look at it. Okay, the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that it's moved about 2,000 of the migrants who had gathered under there near a bridge in the border city of Del Rio to other locations on Friday for processing and possible removal from the United States. It's also said, like roaches, it's also said it would have 400 agents and officers in the area by Monday morning and was prepared to send more if necessary. Yeah, you don't take these measures when the Mexicans show up, or those people from over in Honduras and all that. But it's all of a sudden they got all the resources. The announcement marks a swift response to the sudden arrival of Haitians in Del Rio, a city of about 35,000 people, that's roughly 145 miles, 233 kilometers west of San Antonio, and sits on a relatively remote stretch of border that lacks capacity to hold and process such large numbers of people. Okay, is there something?
As large as Texas is, wow.
Right, exactly. That's just it, right. And like I say, they can come up with all the agents and all that all of a sudden when it's dealing with the Haitians. But when they're dealing with the Mexicans, they couldn't, they can come up with what they need to do to get them out of here. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
messed up. That's that
Oh
serpent
yeah.
seed for you.
Right. That's to be expected. Like I said. Okay. Let's see what
But
I
they
got.
can let in the Afghanistanians with no COVID test or no vaccine. They're not mandated that they be vaccinated. And one of the news stations was saying that they wrote it in that they are part of the infrastructure.
Right. Okay. I think I didn't. Let me see. Right. Hmm. Okay. Let me play this over here right quick. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Well, I just get right into it. The normal that we knew, say in 2018, early part of 2019, is not coming back. I mean, I don't think it is. I hear people say, well, I just can't wait till we get back to normal. It's not getting back to normal. Now, maybe certain ways, but overall, I don't think we are. Things have just changed, and I think it's just going to be like that for a long time, maybe for good. And I've been having this thought. Share with me if you are. I just have this feeling. It just feels like that things are just slowly grinding down. It's a slow roll to the end of the world, as we know it, at least. Now that may be overboard. I don't. Let me know. Am I crazy? Am I just? Is it an irrational fear? But just with all the things that are going on, and just the things that it looks like that we're seeing coming down the road at us.
Setting up Ring Alarm is so much easier.
Like a freight train at us. It just seems like we're on a slow roll to that. And the shortage I'm talking about today could definitely contribute to that. It could be very devastating, actually, and I think it will. And that's the shortage of healthcare and first responders, healthcare workers, first responders, not just nurses, but even doctors, first responders like firefighters, paramedics, police. So that's what I'm really, this has been on my mind a little while. And we were already having a shortage of nurses before all this mess came on. But now we've got the added issue of these mandates coming down. And if these mandates hold up and are enforced, I believe you're going to see even a very serious problem
from your medical centers to dentists to just all kind of healthcare issues, nursing homes, assisted living. So many are going to walk that it'll be difficult to get care. It'll take a lot longer to get health care. You may not be able to get it in time if you have a real emergency. So, it's just a rough problem right now. Many healthcare workers are already starting to walk off and leave. You've got medical centers that are going to be understaffed. Already are. Some of them already are. Like I said, not just nurses, but all kinds of first responders, police, firefighters. What if there's a real emergency? 911 is going to be different. Maybe already is in some places. It may take a lot longer to get help from a responder. May have a situation where we are 911, or things may evolve to that. So there was some things when I was researching some pertaining to this. Hospital in upstate New York that's having to temporarily halt all baby deliveries after September 24th. Nurses are already walking off the job, and they're real concerned about shortages there. Alabama Hospital Association, the leader of that, said that staffing shortages in the state are already in a dire situation. Let's jump to something else. Let's say police. The National Fraternal Order of Police. This is the world's largest organization of law enforcement. The head of that said that they're very worried about having mass shortages, especially in the cities, but it could be all over. It could be nationwide. And that this mandate stuff should be more of a personal choice, all personal choice, not forced, not mandated. We could be losing a lot of police, firefighters, even during an ongoing fire season. You can make it even worse. Texas Hospital CEO of Brownfield Regional Medical Center, he said that if these mandates go through, you could lose 20 to 25% of the staff, walk out. That would essentially shut the hospital down. Shut it down. It would. It probably would. And these are just examples that I read about. I mean, that's not counting all the ones that you're just not hearing about or not published or being talked about a lot. But so, like I said, we could have a situation where we are 911 and we have to learn how to deal with some emergencies. Always good to be prepared for that. Anyway, it makes me think of an old. Some of y'all may have seen this, an old Duck Dynasty episode. There was a part in it where Uncle Phil, dad, patriarch of the group, made a comment. He said, and this is out in the bush, out in Louisiana, out in the country. He said, out here, you talk about 911. I'm 911 out here. You got a problem, you come to me. Anyway, I digress. Well, we may be becoming our own 911 in a way, or all the way, depending on where you are, I guess. But think about maybe who in your family, who in your group has these types of skills. And even if so, what can we do to be more skilled in this? What can we learn? First aid, CPR, things like how do we treat burns? A broken limb, what if somebody has a broken arm? Broken leg, can we deal with that? Can we deal with it at least until we get some more help? Medicine.
Yeah, so to sum that up is the guy is telling us about, which is another sign, the shortages all around us. A lot of people ain't paying attention to it, but the shortages in almost every aspect of American life, everything is coming up short. That's a sign. And so a lot of people not paying attention to that. But I am. And then another little thing right here need to know is Rick Ross. Everybody know Rick Ross, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's moving all this wealth and all this money to Africa. So that ought to tell you something right there. He's taking all this, everything, all this wealth and everything, thing that he owned, and he's relocating it to Africa. You know, that's a dead giveaway to me. That's Boule. So they not already informed them, but they hid it. Okay. The wildfires have made it to the biggest tree on the earth, the sequoias and the cedars. Okay. There's some. Okay, right here we're at a point where I'm opening it up for some Q&A before I go into these couple of two little things I had to deal with. Anybody got any questions or comments about anything they want to talk about before we go into the lesson?
Yeah, there's a comment from Andre. Jehana is Greek word for the valley of the son of Hinman, where child sacrifice took place. What is up with that?
That's the place where they burned all those, they burnt all those kids at in it's a city. It's outside the walls of Jerusalem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they call it Gehenna, right? That's the Greek word for it. But it was a fire that was continuously burning. Right. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay. So this morning we was talking about a question was asked about Deuteronomy 26:5. Mike brought it up. And I say, like I was saying, it's amazing what the internet can cough up if you know what you're doing. So I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 5, 26, verse 5. So 26:5 says, "And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became a nation, great, mighty, and populous," right? So he didn't understand that, where the Syrian came from. So we're going to dive into that. So it says, let me get it, Genesis. Make sure I'm in the right place. All this comes from the internet. Okay. 27 and 43 says, make sure I'm doing the right thing. Okay. Okay. Okay, Genesis 28:5. I think that's what I need to do. Yeah, Genesis 28:5. Well, I'm going first. So it says 28:5 says, "And Isaac sent away Jacob, right? And he went to Paneram unto Laban, right? Laban, son of Bethuel, the Syrian." That's why he's saying that. See that? That's Leah and Rachel father, and that's Sarah, Abraham's wife brother. They from Syria. See that? Brother of Rebecca, Jacob and Esau's brother, Syrian, right? So let's go into it a little deep. So go to Genesis chapter 12. I think it's chapter 12. Let me see where I'm at. Yeah, so I'm in chapter, I kind of went here this morning too. So chapter 11, verse 10. It's two, I told you, it's two boys, Israelite boys. One of them ended up, Jacob came out of that lineage, but you got some more Hebrews that they didn't end up Israelites. But you got a group of people that did end up Israelites. And they came from through Peleg. So I'm reading the lineage of Peleg, verse 10, 11 and 10. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old. He begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begot Shelah. And he ain't just got this on here for GP. And so it says, and Arphaxad lived after he begot Shelah 403 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and begot Eber. That's where the word Hebrew come from. And Shelah lived after he begot Eber 403 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begot Peleg. See that? So this is the lineage Abraham came out of, which eventually Isaac and then Jacob, the Israelites. It says, and Eber lived after he begot Peleg 400 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begot Reu. And Peleg lived after he begot Reu 200 years, 209 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begot Sirach. And Reu lived after he begot Sirach 207 years and begot sons and daughters. And Sirach lived 30 years and begot Nahor. And Sirach lived after he begot Nahor 200 years and he begot sons and daughters. Nahor lived 9 and 20 years and begot Terah. That's Abraham's father. And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 109 years and he begot sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and he begot Abram. That's Abraham. Nahor and Haran. See that? So this is where Rebecca came out of Nahor, Abraham's brother. And then Nahor had Laban, and they from Syria. This the land, this Abraham nativity. So when you go back to Deuteronomy chapter 26 and 5, it says right here. Yeah, thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish. That was Abraham. Was my father. That's Abraham. And he went down into Egypt and journeyed there with a few and became there a nation, great, mighty, and popular. Okay, so we're gonna go all the way in. So it says, okay, we're gonna look at it. Genesis 27 and 43. So they went to Haran. It's a city called Haran. It's a city called Nahor. So 27 and 43. So you just reading to be reading. If you don't go in like this, you just reading just to be reading, fun with it. So, and just off of this one study, you get a whole truckload of information that you can use later on. So, I'm in 27 and 43. It says, now therefore, my son, this is Jacob. This is the Syrian, Jacob the Syrian. Mama from Syria and Abraham and all them from Panorama, Syria, right? 43. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, arise, flee to Laban. See that? My brother, to Haran. city of Iran. It's also Abraham had a brother named Iran, but she telling them right here, city called Iran, and all this is in Syria. Yeah, so Most High, he ain't just talking to be talking. Okay, so we're gonna go to 29:4. 29:4. And Jacob said unto them, my brethren, whence be y'all? And they said, of Haran are we. Haran are we. So now, when you see Haran, you know it's in Syria. So another conversation come up a year and a half later, whatever, you already got this as a foundation. But if you ain't got it, then you might be over on Prince Road somewhere. So and this how you build up information. So, and it's like I said, it's right here in the scriptures. So it says Laban lived in the city of Haran in Mesopotamia, right? It also says in the NIV, the Armenian. It don't say Syria. It say Armenian. Then it says right here in Mesopotamia, Armand. See that Armenia. Say the area between Euphrates and the Tigris River in modern day Iraq, Syria, Turkey. All this evidence adding up, line upon line, precept upon precept. Where Abraham's father and brother, I just went and showed you that, and the family settled after accompanying him on their first leg to his journey from Cassidum to the Holy Land. All this came off the internet.
Okay, quick question now. So,
okay.
That started with the offspring from the one was it Joktan from Shem? Is that?
No. Jock. When you got to follow the lineage, to get down to Eber. Eber had two boys. Eber had Joktan and Peleg.
I get that.
Right.
But
and
I'm asking, is not Joktan the one who okay, well, I guess what I'm searching for is how they got to the Iraq, Syria, like that.
Okay, they got to Iraq and Syria from Shem. Shem ended up over there because of when they divided the lands up. Japheth was given the land over over in this he's a Gentile. He was given to the land of the cold region over on the other side of the Mediterranean. On his way over there, he came into the land of where Shem had been given, and he saw how it looked it, and he viewed it, and he stole it. So when Shem got there to take the land, Canaan had took it, and Canaan went on, and so Shem went on to Mesopotamia, to Assyria, that region. That's why Abraham ended up over there, him, Terah, and all them. So all the Lord of hosts is doing when he got them from Egypt and brought them back to the land of Canaan, he just correcting a wrong that Canaan had done when he stole the land originally during the time when it was allotted to them. He's just bringing his people back to the original land he had gave them, that Canaan stole.
Okay, so they were already inhabitants of that area prior to Abraham.
Right. He had given it to Shem, but Canaan stole it. So that displaced Shem, and Shem ended up over in Mesopotamia.
All right, thank you.
That's why when we pick the story up, the Lord of hosts come to Abraham and tell him, "Get thee from thy kindred, and I'm gonna take you to a land that's flowing with milk and honey." That's the original land that was theirs, that Noah had allotted to Shem. So, like I said before, it's a truckload of information, and just doing this search right here. So, what else it shows us? They ain't in America. The land he gave them ain't in America. And I'm just rightly dividing it. It's in Canaan. Canaan is the when you rightly divide that, Canaan is the Garden of Eden, because he tells you when you look at going back to the Egyptians, you see the 4 rivers. That's all the Egyptians talk about. He tells you. Let me read it. He says right here. I read it this morning. The garden says, and the Lord God planted. Genesis 2:8. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground he made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also he made in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, so he made this garden. He got to water it. So he got to water it. You need water. So he said, and a river went out from Eden to water the garden. See that? From this it parted, and it became 4 heads. It's right there. Right there where Goshen at. And the Egyptians got it all over their walls, everywhere else. Parted 4 heads. The Nile, the Euphrates, all them part from there. And that where that parting is at is what he used to water the garden. It ain't in America. So like I was saying before, this would going to the internet, having the right understanding, the right knowledge, what it can do for you. And after this, you can fumble with it or what you want, but after it's rightly divided, it's on the eyes of the beholder. But right now, it's being broken down. So we see right here, I'm gonna read Deuteronomy 26:5 with question that Mike had asked me. So it says right here, a Syrian ready to perish was my father, right? Meaning Jacob. So Jacob was a person who, though born in Canaan, see that? His mother was a Syrian, and his grandfather Abraham was a Chaldean. See that? A part of Syria. See how it's all adding up? And Jacob married 2 wives in Syria. That's why the Most High saying that. And all his children were born there, but Benjamin. Now we got some more information. And where he had lived 20 years. And sometimes let me see. And sometimes persons are denominated as for the place of their birth. So from the place of their dwelling, okay, talking about Christ, we get out of that. So anyway, going down. Now Jacob might be said to be ready to perish when he fled for his life from his brother Esau, and was poor and penniless when he came to Laban. So the last mentioned writer interprets this phrase, to which may be added that when in his service he was exposed to cold and heat, and his wages frequently changed. And afterwards, when he obliged to flee from Laban, was pursued by him with an intention to do him mischief, and had not the Lord prevented him. Okay, so yeah, so we see right here. So come to find out, that's where Sarah was from. Sarah was from Panorama, where she told Jacob to go, which is Syria, the region of Syria. And then you come to find out that's where Nahor and Abraham, that's where they all came from. And so when it was time for Isaac to get a son or to get a wife, Abraham sent his number 1 servant, Eliezer, to Syria, to Panorama, to Haran. And he got Rebecca. And then Rebecca sent Jacob to the same place. That's why I call them Syrians. Like I said, not Assyria, but Syrian. Okay. Any
Brother
comment?
Leonard.
Okay.
Yes, Brother Leonard.
Yeah.
Holly, the lady that we was listening to,
Right.
she was saying that something about we were part of the Chaldeans. So is that what you're saying?
What's that?
That Abraham's family was from the Chaldeans? Because she was saying I
Right.
had heard her mention something that we were from the Chaldeans too, or they were our people.
Right. That's where that's like I was saying before. It's a geographical location. That's what the Most High talking about in Deuteronomy 26:5.
Okay.
Syria. He's not a Syrian, but that's his nativity. It's from Syria. That's where they came from. That's where Laban lived at. That's where Rebecca came from. He sent Eliezer to go get a wife for Isaac. Isaac went to Syria, to Iran, to Laban. Let me read that. Let me read that again. So it says right here, 28:5. Which I mean, you could just stop right there, 28:5. But I don't prefer to do that because, like I said, there's a treasure trove of wealth of information when you start doing these searches like this. So 28:5 says, and Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Panaram. See that? So now, when you from this point on, when you see Panaram, you know Laban. When you see Laban, you know Syria. So it says, and Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Panaram. I may be saying this wrong. Unto Laban, son of Bethel. Bethel is tied to Nahor and Haran and Terah. Bethel, the Syrian. See that? The brother of Rebekah, Jacob and Esau's mother. So not only is Laban from Syria, Rebekah from Syria, Sarah from Syria, and Rachel and Leah from Syria. That's why he's saying that. And it's a geographical location.
So we're Syrians.
Now, that's where they from. That's not their DNA. That's not their DNA is Hebrew.
Right. Yeah, I that's what I'm saying. So over in Genesis 20 and 11.
What did it say?
It says, and Abraham said, because I thought, this is when he was dealing with Abimelech, and he gave Sarah and said, that's my sister. Right. So
Right.
he said, and Abraham said, because I thought surely the fear of God is in this place, and they is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. And yet indeed she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but
Right.
the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife.
Right.
So she's of his father's seed. So we're
Right.
Syrian.
Now, they if you go to Genesis chapter where I was just at, Genesis chapter 11. Chapter 11, verse 10.
Yeah.
Descendants of Shem.
Right.
It started right there. Shem was from Eber. They came on a boat. Their DNA ain't from Syria. They came on a boat and I was telling them how they ended up over in there because Canaan stole. When they got out the boat, Noah gave Shem what is so-called land of Canaan, but it wasn't called land of Canaan at the time. So Canaan on his way to the land that he had allotted him came across Shem land and viewed it and stole it. So that displaced Abraham lineage. Shem lineage through Peleg that displaced them. They sit them over in the Ur of the Chaldeans in the Mesopotamia area. But that ain't their land. And it's not their DNA. Their DNA ain't come from there. They was misplaced over there. So they was born there and all that, but that's not who they are. That's the place of their nativity where they was, dwelling at. But they're not Syrians.
Sound familiar. Sounds like right now. So terror was just wicked as hell.
Right, exactly. And they're getting away with that today by calling us African Americans. But our DNA ain't from here. We was same trickery went down. And they brought us on slave ships over here, but this ain't our DNA. we not attached to this place. Our DNA ain't attached here. It's the same with this. So I'm gonna go in and read. I'm gonna read 20. Start at 20. Rahu lived 230 years and begot Serug, and Ru lived after he begot Serug 207 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begot Nahu. So this Nahor is Sarah daddy. See that's why he's saying his sister. So Sarah lived after he begot Nahor 200 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Nahu lived 9 and 20 years, and he begot Terah. This Abraham daddy. And Nahor lived after he begot grandfather Terah 19 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram. That's Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Nahor is Sarah's daddy, and Abram is and Terah is Abram's daddy. See that? And so that's not they they just like I said, the Midianites. The Midianites came from Abraham through his second wife, but they ended up over there where they was at when Moses came and found them. But that's not their nativity. They ended up in that place. Their DNA ain't affiliated with that place. That's where they ended up at. And that's what the Most High addressing when we call him Assyrian. I don't know if he was online at the time, but I read that Laman lived in a city of Haran in Mesopotamia, right? The area between Euphrates. See, it's the area between Euphrates and the Tigris River, in modern day Iraq, Syria, not Assyria, Syria, Turkey, where Abraham's father and brother and their family settled. See that they settled there. They DNA ain't tied to that. After accompanying him on their first leg of his journey from Kasdim to the Holy Land. Any comments or injections or whatever? Okay. So
Right. So Midian. So back to the whole thing with Midian too. That's a big one for me. Even though this is early in what is it in Exodus?
right,
When he kept the flock of Jethro, right?
right,
That was in Midian, right?
right.
And so
They call them Midianites.
Midianites, right? So when he
Right.
kept the flock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he went up to the mount. So the mountain is in Midian.
No, it's not directly in Midian. They went to the mount.
Uh-huh.
Right. It's not.
So
It
he
wasn't.
just came in the bush just on. Cause was he not in when he kept the flock and he said he went to when God first called him, when the Lord of Hosts first called him, and he was keeping the flock.
Right.
Right. Where did he go? Let me see.
The way he wandered, he was keeping the sheep, and some of the sheep wandered, and he ended up finding them, and when he found them, he was at the mountain of God.
Mount Horeb.
See what I'm saying? It's not necessarily. It's in that vicinity, in the region.
In the region.
But it's not necessarily in Midian.
That's something that always stuck because he said the priest of Midian, and he kept the flock
right
side of the desert and came to the mountain of God. Even so, he went into so the mountain is even to Horeb. So the mountain isn't Mount Horeb; it's in Horeb.
Right. Yeah. It's in that. Yeah. But all them people in that is around that region.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't not. It's not like the Horeb is in Midian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's more than just Midian there. He had brothers. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Abraham had 7 sons for Kirkuk. 7 or 8, something like that.
Mm.
And they all was in that region.
That was 6, I believe.
What's that?
I think it was 6. I could be wrong.
Right. Yeah. I think it's either 6, 7, somewhere up in there. But And then we know that when Abraham had died, at Abraham, either the Abraham funeral or Jacob funeral, it was Isaac funeral. Then those sons of Kirkuk that Abraham had she had for Abraham, they intermingled with Ishmael, and that's who the Arabs are. They're a amalgamation of Ishmaelites intermingling with those sons of Kirkuk.
I think that was Abraham's funeral or passing or something.
Right, and that's why you can't. That's why they're not traced, being traced today, because they all intermingled and became most I call them, Lord hosts call them mingled people. Right. So everybody good on that? Okay, so yeah, so with this Ethiopian thing, we're gonna deal with that. It says okay, I'm gonna start out right here. Can y'all see that? No? Let me get back over here.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, like I was saying, this is when you do this right here, you'll be amazed, man. It's doozy. So here we go, right here. And so it's words, like I said, it's words. And that, by having a foundation, it's a word you can type in there and you're gonna get a truckload of information. So it says Ethiopia was so this is why they call him Ethiopian. Ethiopia has its own ancient calendar. See that? According to the beliefs of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. See that? That's where the Book of Enoch was found at. God created the world 5,500 years before the birth of Christ. And we know that's God. And it is 2012 years since Jesus was born. Based on this timeline, we are in the year 7512 of the 8th millennium. Okay, these are referred to as the whatever it is, or more years. To say Ethiopia is not the only Ethiopic is not the only calendar in Ethiopia either. The works of Enoch, that's why they call them in Ethiopia. The works of Enoch had been in Ethiopia and Egypt before the times of Moses and on through the times of King Solomon and Queen Sheba. See that? So they attached at the hip. King Solomon and Queen Sheba. Why? Menelik. So as has been the case for Israel, Egypt and Ethiopia have had important roles in biblical history. An Ethiopian year is compiled of 364 days. That's in Enoch 82, 47, and Jubilee 66. More precisely, 365 day solar year. And that's how long Enoch lived. And all this stuff is tied to Ethiopia because of Enoch. That's why they call him Ethiopian. Solar appeared as in 365 days and years single term. From the three books of Enoch, a curious 364-day length of a calendar lends new insight by reserving the last days of the solar year. Ethiopians follow the Old Testament before the instructions of Christianity. See that? And the Ark of the Covenant was brought to Ethiopia long before Christianity accepted the Old Testament and offered the worship of God. So when Ricky Rockety comes show up and you got this information, it's gonna just bounce off you like water on a duck back. So it's let me get it. The Ethiopic Enochian calendar had 364 days per year. The Book of Enoch was Ethiopic version in its entirety, survived only in Ethiopia and was taken to Europe by James Bruce and published around 1790 AD. The Book of Enoch has been the Ethiopian Bible, was part of the Ethiopian Bible, and Enoch 21:11 mentions the completion of the year is 364 years, 364 days. In the view of the Ethiopic Orthodox, Enoch wrote his Ethiopic Bible as the first and oldest author in any human language. Yeah, so I mean, you got, so you got a whole truckload of information. But I'm just, if you're thirsty, you'll read that. But I've already been there, so and then when you get this stuff, you connect the dots. Simple as that. So let's go somewhere right here. See that? This is the book I got. See that? That's Ethiopian attire he got on. Ethiopian prophet. See this thing he got in his hand?
It's
That's
still
what it's
on
saying.
the calendar.
Yeah.
It's still on the calendar.
Oh, okay. My bad. Hold up. Moving too fast. Okay. 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 Here we go. I think this is it. Okay. Can you see now?
Yes.
You see? Yeah. See, that's Enoch right there in the white. Ethiopia. I got this book right here. Okay. Let's go somewhere else. Okay. See what's on here. Yeah. See, here go Menelik right here. Says Menelik the first. It's the first one. It's more than one. Was claimed to be the first Ptolemaic emperor of Ethiopia, according to the Hebrew Nagash. That's the Ethiopian Bible that Enoch is part of. A 14th century record in the 10th century BC, he is said to have inaugurated the Ptolemaic dynasty of Ethiopia. Some name because Menelik was the son of the biblical King Solomon of ancient Israel and of Makeda, Queen of Sheba. Okay, and go down. According to the medieval age of the Ethiopian book of, there it is, King, Hebrew Nagash, whatever, translated into blank. It says this man's name was Bina. I can't say the name. It says he was conceived when his father Solomon tricked his visiting mother, Queen of Sheba, into sleeping with him. His mother raised him as an Israelite in Ethiopia, and he go another. See, he's outside of the land of Israel, so he looked like the Israelites, but he don't live there. And so if he go to Israel, he got all the rights in the temple, just like an Israelite do. Same with Joktan children. They look just like the Israelites, but they ain't Israelites, but they're Hebrews. But if they happen to stumble up and get on the wrong road and end up in Jerusalem, they got all the rights as an Israelite. So it says his mother raised him as an Israelite in Ethiopia. See that? Yeah, Israelite, but he in Ethiopia. And he only traveled to Jerusalem to meet his father for the first time when he was in his 20s. While his father begged Menelik to stay and rule over Israel, Menelik told him that he wanted to return to Ethiopia. Thus Solomon sent many Israelites with him. See that? So Solomon had a dream. Yahweh dealt with him on the ark. So Solomon sent many Israelites with him to aid him in ruling according to the biblical standards. They were aggravated by they were aggravated at being exiled forever. King Solomon gave his ark. See this? That's what I told you. See, King Solomon gave his ark of the covenant to his son as a gift for being his son and being king of Ethiopia. Upon the death of his mother, Menelik was coronated as the king of Ethiopia. See that? So when you rightly divide it, like I said, wasn't no ark in Jerusalem. especially during the time of JC. So now it opens up everything I've been saying from day one. There ain't no Israelites. There wasn't no Israelites there in 70 AD. There wasn't no ark there. The scripture tell you that they left. Anti-Epiphanies came and ran them out. So, but the world thinks them Israelites. And so it's a whole truckload of information that go along with that. Wherever these folks went, they naming places with Israelite names because they think they're Israelites. Because they lived in the land for over 300 to 400 years as Israelites, posing as Israelites. Even to the day, they posing as Israelites. Yeah. Yeah, so they're posing as Israelites. Right, so, yeah. And that's what I was saying. And this, the only way you're going to get this information is when you dig like this. When it comes up, it's even if you read all of it and some of it good and some of it ain't. But when the conversation come up, all right, man. When the conversation come up, you gonna, you got some meat to deal with. Like I was saying, I had a conversation the other day with a guy, and I asked him, did he know who Caesarion was? He didn't know who Caesarion was, and Octavian was. He didn't know who Mark Antony was. So come on, boss. You a pastor too? Best thing you can do is get a latte and go sit down somewhere and listen, because you don't know none of these people. You ain't did no research. So I mean, what you talking about? And that's not being arrogant. That's the most I said, study, show yourself to be approved. So when you come into that area, then you rightly divide it, then you see where it is that you at, and then you act accordingly. It's not about being arrogant. Like I said, and people don't know this. Most people don't know this. But it's fact. You rightly divide it. Okay? And they gave us some names. All those names, Ethiopian and all that. They gave us those names. And for a reason. So, anybody got any comments? I think I got one more, maybe one more. Let me see.
I just got a comment on.
Go ahead.
And I never thought about this. I never thought about it. So the ark has been going since Solomon's reign.
Right, because Most High gave him a vision of that they was going to destroy itself. So Solomon took the ark and sent it away with it's like a small nation of Israel. He sent priests, Levites, a few people from every tribe with the ark with Menelik to Ethiopia to save Israel. Because they were going to destroy themselves with the ark if he hadn't done that. So there's a replica was in there. And then when you understand that, you get to the JC time, ain't no ark in there.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm trying to think of all the books that, whether we're reading through the Book of Kings and Chronicles, they don't mention the ark much in there. Like when right, for instance, when Ahab was going to battle, or when Jehoshaphat was going to battle, there was no ark with them.
Right, exactly. Right, and that's what I mean about that's when we talk about melanin, and the reason I bring all that up, that's how the Most High operate in us as Israelites. The melanin is he brings stuff back to your remembrance, like what you just said. It was right there, but a certain amount of information has to be presented. Then the Most High go to work and the melanin, and you can start everything. The dots start coming together, and you know it's right because of how you got it. That's how it works. Yeah, so like I said, they done lied and tricked us off, and the only way that we're gonna rightly divide it and get past it, the ones that's gonna get past it is through the Spirit of the Most High. That's what He said He's gonna pour out on us, on our seed. That's what's gonna help us. Not seminary. You know what I'm saying? It's the Spirit of the Most High. Same Spirit that Pharaoh said he saw on Joseph. See, he saw the spirit of the gods, of the angels on Joseph and Daniel. Yeah, that's how that works.
I need clarity on Shine Lighthouse. Is that Isaiah 49 he's referring to?
What's the verse?
It says, I first think that Isaiah 14:2, there is a process to all this. I read 49 like it's what? Israel.
Isaiah 14?
No, no. Yeah, that's what he's saying. You read the comments over here. I'm trying to get clarity because, you know.
Isaiah 14:49, or is that it?
No. Can you see his comment? Read it.
Oh, the comments. Hold, let me go over here.
Yeah, I need clarity. Is that Isaiah 49?
Okay. Isaiah.
It's 14:2. Then.
See, talking about in the first, I first think of Isaiah 14:2. There's a process to all this. I read 49. Like it's Israel, David seed talking, not Isaiah himself. Okay, matches Zechariah 12:8. Okay. So we go to Isaiah 14:2 first. 14:2 says, the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, or in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaidens, and they shall take them captive, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over them, over their oppressors. So the land of the Lord is Israel. And then he says in 49, I'll read 49 like it's that's verse 49. Oh.
No, there is no verse 49. Not
Oh, okay.
Chapter 49.
Chapter 49? But what verse?
That's a good question. I need to go early on that.
Okay, Isaiah 49. Okay. Okay. I'll read verse 1. Maybe it's verse 1. Let me see. Listen, O eyes on me, and hearken me, people from afar. The Lord hath called me from the web, from the womb, from the bowels of my mother have he made mention of me, my name. And he have made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand have he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver have he made me. So he said Isaiah 49, like it's Israel, David seed talking, not Isaiah himself. Matches Zechariah 12, 8 through 18. Zechariah 12, 8 through 18. I know it's over there. It says, in that day, 12. Zechariah 12, 18 through 8 through 18 says, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations they come against Jerusalem. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourning for his own son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as a mourning of in Hemajon in the valley of Megiddon, and the land shall mourn every family apart. And the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. And the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart. And the family of Shema apart, and their wives apart. All the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. So that's because of David been resurrected. That's why he's mentioned all these families this morning. David there, they're looking to see David. And these are all saints, which means they were dead at one time. They've been resurrected. Okay. Okay. We already dealt with that. Okay. So everybody good? Any questions or comments?
I got a question. When what, because I'm just searching the scriptures real fast. Babylon, when they came, when can I first find when Babylon first came?
Babylon.
Like right when
Babylon is mentioned with Nimrod, Tower of Babel.
Right. I mean, like when they first came and attacked the people, when he carried out all the treasures and stuff.
Come on, the first time they attacked Jerusalem.
Right.
Yeah, that's in Jeremiah chapter 40. I think either 40, 41.
Thank you.
Let me get it. Like I was saying, he had prophesied years before that Nebuchadnezzar was coming, and the two-lead gate. When he said this, Cyrus was coming. The two-lead gate is in Jerusalem. They got leads on the gate in Jerusalem. Let me get that. Maybe 39. 39. Yeah, 39. It says in the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it. In the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up. Then 3, which is the prophecy. Verse 3 is the prophecy. A lot of people don't know that, but and all the princes of king of Babylon, which is 7, because he saw Nebuchadnezzar seen Yahweh sitting on the sapphire stone with the 7 angels. He saw that, and then he duplicated that. Verse 3 says, and all the princes, see that, of the king of Babylon came in. Let's look at them. And sat in the middle gate. That's what he told them. I'm going to bring you here, and all the princes going to sit down in this middle gate. So when people seen that, you can imagine they got afraid. And these guys are giants. 3 says, and all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate. Even, see that? I can't say these names. That's 1, me or whatever, and Samurai 2, next one 3, 4, 5, 6. See that? And then Nebuzaradan down in verse 9 is 7. He's the Lord of hosts. Same thing in heaven. Michael and the other 6. He go to 6, came through the gate and sit down in the front gate. They knew it was over then. When these 6 showed up, they came in the gate and sit down, and then Nebuzaradan out after wrecking havoc. 7 of them. And if you go to the story of Aorus, when Esther broke in there and cut him off in the middle of his council, he had 7 princes. The Persians got it from Nebuchadnezzar, because Nebuchadnezzar seen Yahweh order. And the Persians, he had 7 chamberlains that he counseled with that was around him.
Nebuchadnezzar saying Yahweh's what?
It's the order. Let me show you. Go to Exodus. Exodus. Okay. Yeah, Exodus 24. I'm at verse 8. They're on Mount Sinai. And it says Moses took the blood, verse 8, Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses, Aaron, the Bob, Abihu, and the 70 elders, right? And they got up there, 10, and they saw the God of Israel. And there was under his feet, as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone. That's Yahweh. And as it were the body of heaven in its clearness, 7. So they saw that. These 70 elders and Moses saw that. And then go to Zechariah, go to Ezra. And Cyrus saw it. I'm in Ezra. So I'm in Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. Let me know when you get it. Got it?
Got it.
Now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, right? That he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it in writing, saying, look at this. Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me. See that? So if he charged him, he was standing before him. See that? So Cyrus saw it. He says, he has charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. And who there among you of all, not just 3 tribes, Cyrus over all the tribes. He over Syria and he over the southern kingdom that's in Chaldea, in Babylon. He over all the province, the Syrian province, where the 10 tribes in, and he over the other 3 tribes. That's the Chaldeans brought there. So he got Cyrus to bring all of them back. That's another witness right there. So what is Columbus talking about? It says, who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build a house of the Lord God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. And whosoever remaineth, see that? This is what I was talking about right here. Whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourned, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, besides the free will offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem. Then, just like now, right now, the same thing happening. We witnessing it. 5. Then rose up the chief, see that, of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priest and the Levites, with all them whose spirit, see that, God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. He ain't nothing new under the sun. He's doing the same thing now. He's raising up the chief men, the Levites, the priests, raising their spirit up. Ain't nothing new under the sun. You know, and it's no matter what they did with the information or where they didn't put it at, you can't hide it from Yahweh. You're gonna bring it out. I know. Okay. And that's who I'm riding with. Okay. Anybody got any comments? Oh, I see down here it says, let me see. Read 2 Chronicles 33:11. Technically, it was Assyria. They just took him to Babylon, the city. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. That's what I was saying about it. people get that mixed up. Syria and Assyria, two different places. And like I said, the 10 tribes was taken by the king of Assyria to Assyria, not Syria. Different place. Okay. Okay. Anybody got anything else before we get up out of here? Like I said, it's the best thing you can do is pose a question. You don't know where it's gonna take you. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So man, yeah, I had a ball today, so I'm gonna see everybody on Monday at 7 o'clock. Shalom.
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 Yeah, shalom.